How often does thought spiraling happen to you? You replay an awkward conversation you had. You reread a text from someone that came across in a weird way. You relive a mistake you made. You can't stop worrying about your financial situation, a health concern, a member of your family, how you're going to retire. It starts as one thought that turns into another, one possibility that turns into a prediction, an uncomfortable feeling that turns into, what if everything goes wrong? Now that one thought has turned into a bad movie you can't turn off, a nightmare you feel like you're living inside. But none of these things are certain. They are all thoughts in your mind. So instead of treating these thoughts like facts and living through the fear they create, what if there was a way to stop that spiraling and return to a calm, grounded state? If you have ever had one thought take over your whole mood, your whole body, or your whole day, this video is for you. We are going to walk through a simple way to interrupt the spiral, how to name what is happening, separate the facts from the fears, calm your body enough to think clearly, shrink the timeline, and choose one grounded next step. And before we go any further, this is not medical advice, and it is not a replacement for support from a qualified mental health professional. If your anxiety, panic, or intrusive thoughts feel overwhelming, persistent, or unsafe, please reach out to a licensed professional or someone you trust. But if you're looking for a calm, practical way to meet the moment when your thoughts start racing, let's walk through this together. The first step, start by giving this response a name. You might say to yourself, "This is just a thought spiral," or "My mind is playing out a made-up story right now," or "This is my mind reacting to fear. It is not an accurate prediction of what is actually going to happen." That space matters, because when you are inside the spiral, every thought feels urgent. Every possibility and fear feels like it needs your immediate attention. But when you give it a name, you are now looking at it from the outside instead of being a character within the story. You are observing it, which means you can look at it with a little more distance, even if the emotion is still there. It doesn't mean that the thought is silly or that the problem is imaginary, and it definitely doesn't mean you are overreacting. Naming the spiral helps you take a step back, pause, and observe the thought before you follow that story all the way to the worst possible ending. So instead of saying, "Something is wrong, I have to figure this out right now," you might say, "A thought is pulling me into a spiral." That is a very different place to begin. It gives you a moment to breathe before you believe every part of the story. The second step is to separate facts from fears. This is where you gently ask, "What do I actually know for sure?" Not, "What do I suspect?" Not, "What am I afraid might happen?" What do I know right now as a fact? For example, the fact might be, "They have not replied yet." The fear might be, "They are upset with me." The fact might be, "I made a mistake at work." The fear might be, "Everyone thinks I am incompetent." The fact might be, "I have a bill to deal with." The fear might be, "I will never get ahead." This distinction is powerful because spiraling often mixes facts and fears together until they feel like the same thing. But they are not the same thing. A fact is something you can verify. A fear is something your mind is predicting, imagining, or preparing for. The goal is not to attack yourself for having fears. Fears are not character flaws. They are signals. Sometimes they are trying to protect you. Sometimes they are trying to prevent pain. Sometimes they are trying to keep you from being blindsided. But a fear does not become true just because it feels intense. So try asking 2 questions. What do I know for sure? And what am I imagining might happen? Those 2 questions can slow the spiral down because they pull your mind out of the mental movie and back into the present. The third step is to calm the body before trying to solve the problem. This is important because spiraling is not just a thinking problem, it's also a state your physical body experiences. Your chest may tighten, your stomach may drop, your shoulders may tense, and your breathing may get shallow. Your body may start acting like the imagined threat is already happening. And when your body is activated, your mind often looks for more evidence that something is wrong. That's why trying to just think positive usually doesn't work when you're already spiraling. Your body does not need a slogan. It needs an actual signal of safety. So before you try to solve anything, give your body a moment. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, put both feet on the floor. Take one slow breath in and one longer breath out. Look around the room and name what you can see. Feel the surface underneath your feet. Let your body register exactly where you are in this moment. You don't have to become perfectly calm. That isn't the goal. The goal is just to turn the volume down enough that you can think more clearly. Even a small shift matters. A little more breath, a little less tension, a little more awareness of where you are. That can be enough to stop the spiral from gaining more speed. The fourth step is to shrink the timeline. Spiraling often pulls you into the future, not just tomorrow, but next week, next year, the rest of your life. Your mind jumps from one uncomfortable moment to a whole imagined outcome, and suddenly you're trying to solve everything at once. So instead of asking, "What if this ruins everything?" ask, "What do I need to do in the next 10 minutes?" That question is small on purpose. It brings the problem back down to a size your nervous system can actually handle. Maybe in the next 10 minutes, you need to drink water. Maybe you need to write down the thought. Maybe you need to step away from your phone. Maybe you need to send one clear message. Maybe you need to look at the actual information instead of guessing. Maybe you need to decide, "I am not solving this tonight. I will come back to it tomorrow." This is not avoidance. This is containment. You are not pretending the problem does not exist. You are refusing to let your mind turn one moment into an entire future before you have enough information. The fifth step is to choose one grounded next action. This doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to fix everything. Just one action that brings you back into your real life. A grounded next action might be something practical, or it might be something calming. Make a to-do list for the rest of your day and start with the first task. Make a soothing cup of tea. Practice a breathing exercise, paying full attention to your inhales and exhales. Write down how you're feeling in a journal, or write out the thought you're having followed by facts you actually know. Take a walk and try to immerse yourself in your surroundings, bringing yourself into the present moment. The reason this helps is that spiraling thrives in vague mental space. It gets stronger when everything stays abstract, unfinished, and floating around in your mind. One grounded action gives your brain a place to land. Sometimes the grounded action is not do more. Sometimes the grounded action is stop for now. That might sound like, I have thought about this enough for tonight, or I don't have enough information to solve this yet, or I can revisit this when I am calmer. That is still an action. Resting, pausing, and stepping away can be active choices. So let's put the whole process together. When one thought starts taking over, first, name the spiral. This is a thought spiral. Second, separate the facts from the fears. What do I know for sure, and what am I imagining? Third, calm the body before solving the problem. Breathe, ground yourself, and let your body come back to the room. Fourth, shrink the timeline. What do I need to do in the next 10 minutes? And fifth, choose one grounded next action. You aren't trying to defeat every anxious thought forever. You are trying to interrupt this spiral in this moment with enough steadiness to come back to yourself. This matters because spiraling can make you feel like you are failing at being calm. But you are not failing. Your mind is trying to protect you by scanning for danger, building possibilities, and preparing for pain. The problem is that protection can become exhausting when it never turns off. So the next time one thought grabs your attention and starts pulling you into the worst-case story, pause before you follow it. You can say, "This is a spiral. I do not have to believe every part of it right now." Then come back to what is true, what is present, and what is the next small thing you can do. You don't have to solve your entire future tonight. You don't have to answer every fear. You don't have to earn calm by figuring everything out. Sometimes the most resilient thing you can do is slow down, return to the moment, and take one steady step. If this helped, consider saving it for the next time your thoughts start moving faster than you can catch them. And in the comments, I would love to know, what is one small thing that helps you interrupt overthinking when it starts to take over? Thank you for watching the Resilience Project channel.